sure. That's the main one.
Oh, that's the main?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Hello, everybody. You are welcome to FLA Show. We are live on FLA, on Facebook and FLA Show, and this is your very own Flavia K. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for following the show. I really appreciate it. I received so many calls. Thank you. And like I've mentioned before, every Saturday we talk about day-to-day things that impact our lives generally. It could be spiritually, socially, it could be emotionally, politically. We are not yet there, but we'll get there where need be. So today we are talking about transitioning and adjustment. So please stay tuned. Like I've mentioned before, this is your show, it's not my show, and this is one of the topics that was requested by my friends, by my followers. So please don't go away, invite your friends and let them know that it is Saturday, 12 p.m., 12:06 Eastern Time, and FLA Show is live. So please don't go away. Host a watch party. Well, so thank you so much for tuning in. Those who have already logged on, thank you. I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's grow together. I know we have come far from with FLA Show. We are growing together, and slowly by slowly we are getting there. So please continue liking the show, continue inviting friends, and let us go together. Let us grow together. Yeah, I got a distraction. So it happens. So today we are talking about transitioning. How do we transition into this system, the American system? Not only the American system, into different kinds of lives. How do we transition? And today I'm hosting a very informed person who I knew way back when I had just gotten into this country. That is around 2011. Wow. And it's been a while. He's a mighty man of God. He knows God, but today we are not talking about spiritual things. And like I mentioned, we are talking about day-to-day things that impact our lives. And this is one of the topics that my fans have really requested. They want to learn more about transitioning and how do we adjust. And before we go any further deep into the details about this, let me give my guest an opportunity to introduce himself to you.
Hello, viewers. My name is Ezra Tindiewa, and I'm happy to be on this show. I don't know whether I should talk about my background, if it will be valuable to you. I am trained as an electrical engineer. At least that was my first degree. And from electrical engineering, I actually went into telecommunications engineering. I went to all sorts of schools for telecommunications. I went to Alcatel University in France. This was 2001. Then I came to the US, and I went to the Telecommunications Training Institute in Washington, D.C. I went to Translucent, I went to Intel in California, and then I went back to Uganda, where I worked as a telecommunications engineer in Uganda Telecom. We were actually the people who started the telecommunications mobile platform in Uganda. That's Mango. To cut the long story short, 2006, I came to the US with no intentions of staying here. But then somehow I stayed and I started working as an electrical engineer. I was working in Canton, a place called Tractel. Tractel manufactures all kinds of grip hoist machines, anything you want to, from motors to wire ropes, all kinds of things to use on elevators. 2007, 2008, I got an accident while working as an engineer. My hand got cut by a wire rope. All my fingers were actually cut off, so I went to Beth Israel Hospital, and it took me about 3 years to get 99 functionality in my hand. And what changed my whole perspective into transition into what I'm doing right now is the way I was hosted and treated at Beth Israel. The doctors and the nurses at Beth Israel were there from the very second I got in to the time my surgery was done. There was about 12 hours after that. So I decided that I was going to become a nurse. That's when I actually told me, you know what, I can never be able to do anything for you or for everybody else. The way you have done things, I'm going to go out and I'll try and do something for somebody who is in pain. Because that was excruciating pain I was in. And I thank God that I came true to my conviction and to, what I said I would do. I trained as a nurse. Right now, I work as a nurse, thank God, not by power, not by might, but by His Spirit. So, this is what I want to say. In everything that we do, in everything that we plan to do, we must have that conviction. We must have that inner saying, this is what I want to do, and no matter what challenges I face, no matter what mountains are out there, I'm going to do it. And not, as I said, not by power, not by might, but by the Spirit of the Lord.
Yes.
If you are going to do anything, if you're going to amount to anything, you just have to have that Spirit of God leading you from day one.
Yes.
And you have to stay true to your conviction that you're God, and to know that you as a man or as a woman, you cannot do anything on your own. But with God, everything is possible.
Yes.
Thank you again for watching. I hope that convinces you.
Yes. Yes, so that's a brief introduction, and he's kind of gone a little deeper into what we want to talk about today, which is really very, very important. But before then, I know you are, just like as an icebreaker, so I know you are a married man, so how did you,
Yes.
did you come in here when you were single, or you came in here with your family, or
I came in.
if you're comfortable talking about
I came in as
that,
a single.
yeah,
Actually,
okay.
the reason why I came back to this country is because I came back looking for my love. Like I said, 2003, I came in, I trained as a telecommunications expert. I was nominated by USAID, that's United States Agency for International Development. They were looking for, I don't know why I should say this. They were looking for smart people who could get scholarships. So I got that scholarship from USAID to come to the US and train as a telecommunications expert and then go back to my country and serve. So I come in and it was around March, I believe, around about February when I got into Washington, D.C. And I was like, no, this is not what I expected. I thought the U.S. was heaven, and So I got in, it was winter, and everything looked so horrible. It didn't seem like a good place. And there were homeless people sleeping on the streets. So I was like, no, I think
Yeah, no greener pastures here.
Yeah. So I thought I was more comfortable back home than actually coming here. And before I had come, my wife now, who was my girlfriend, had insisted, now that you're going to the US, please stay, because I've always wanted to go to the US. I've always believed that I should live in the US. And now that you've gone, please do not come back so that I will be able to come. And I said, we'll see about that. But after that experience, I was like, there's no way I'm going to stay here. So after my training, I boarded the next flight, and I was home, and she was devastated. She was like, no, we have to do this. So 2005, I believe, she came to the US. She did everything she wanted to do, and she came to the US. So I was back home, I was lonely, and I was like, you know what, let me go visit. So I came to visit her, and I never went back. So I came here looking for my love, and
and all of a sudden you are stuck here with your love.
And I was stuck here. Right. So finally everything worked out. We got married. We now have 4 children, beautiful girls and handsome boys. Yeah. And so I am a married man, and I'm happy. I'm glad that, you know, I am a married man, and it's good to be married.
Okay, thank you. So let us now begin from that point where you joined your love and then you started a family. How was it like? You were new into this nation, and maybe she was also new into this nation, and then you had previously you had been here, and you're like, no, I'm not gonna make it here. I don't think this is my land. I don't think it's gonna work for me. So how did it get in from that point when you joined your husband, how your wife? So how did it how did you begin training and convincing your mind, like, okay, now this is the place, I have to stay here, my career is here, I have to take it on?
This is what I've always believed, and this is what has been my guiding principle, actually, as far as life is concerned.
And maybe before, let me interact a little bit, and just let you know, like, the purpose of FLA Show is to motivate people, to speak to the people. Most of my audience are young people who are maybe all over, so they need to understand how to transition into whatever kind of life, whatever life throws at them. So we inspire, we motivate, we encourage, we educate, we entertain. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Thank you for. Yes, like I was saying, I've always seen my life as a seed, and when I am placed anywhere, when I find myself anywhere, I do not stop. I just start from there and grow. I germinate and grow. Yes. And I don't care what kind of language that people speak. I don't care what kind of environment I am in. I am going to grow because I know that my life is made. I know that I'm purposed for greater things. I know that it's me and not anybody else who is going to pull myself up and make myself the kind of person that I want to be. So I don't look at anything that is hindering me. I don't look at what people are saying. I don't look at what is, going to stop me. I just keep going. So if you are here and you're wondering as to whether you made the right move, let me tell you one thing. You are here, and you're not about to go back. Right. So just do one thing, get in there, put on your boots if you want to, tighten your belt, and move. Right. I'm not saying things are going to be easy. I am not going to say things were so easy on my part. You are going to face bottlenecks. You're going to face challenges. You're going to have to climb mountains. You're going to have to go through valleys. But in everything, just have one thing in you, I am going to succeed.
Yes.
No matter what.
Right. Yes.
No matter what life throws at me, I'm going to keep going. I'm
Yeah.
going to wake up in the morning and I'll have that headache and I'll feel like, no, I should sleep. Just toss your beds off you and go to where you're supposed to be.
Yes, that's a very important thing that you have really brought,
Right,
you have really put out there, because people might think that maybe it's about connections. It begins with connection, it begins with family, it begins with money. I think it begins with own self. If you put it in yourself like, oh, I have to grow, I have to germinate,
Right.
I have to start, I have to begin, then
Right.
there you are. And right now, here he is, he's in America, he's a family, I don't want to get into the job that you are doing so right now. So maybe somebody who is watching us might think that because you were an engineer back then, you came in here with a lot of money, so that's why you were able to be where you are right now. And if you can try to make it clear that it was not all about money, and even if you came with a lot of money, I mean, even if you come to the US with lots and lots and lots of money, within a month or whatever, it's all gone, right? Yeah, if you can maybe speak to that.
Yeah, I can actually speak about that, because when I came in, actually, yeah, you could say I came in maybe with $2,000 or something, but what's $2,000? If you're going to pay rent on that,
Yes.
that will take off at least $1,000 and you remain with 1,000.
Yeah.
And if you're going to buy groceries, it's going to take off another 200, that's 800. Before you know it, you are back to zero. And if you're not adding, even life, if you're not adding onto your life, then everything's going to get to a standstill. It's going to stop.
Yes.
So the best thing would be, I am going to make sure I'm adding onto my life. I'm adding value into my life by either going to school, by either getting a job, by either getting a training, by either getting to know people.
Yes.
Those are very important things. Sometimes we say, oh, I don't want to get associated with people.
Yes.
I don't want anybody to know who I am, where I am, what I'm doing. But the more you keep to yourself, the more you're going to be attacked internally. There's that voice that is going to keep on telling you that you are not doing anything sensible, you're not adding anything to yourself. You better either go back home or you better freeze. It's not going to work. The more you open up, the more you find people to talk to, the more you try to find new experiences, new friends, new challenges. That's what is going to make you grow. But if you think that, oh, no, I can't do that, because people are going to find out who I am, or they are going to report me for anything. No, just open up. Open up, find the right people. I'm not saying just go to everybody on the road and whoever you find. No, there are good people in this country.
Yes.
You can reach out to Flash Show.
Yes.
You could get connections. You could get, advice into how you can enroll in school, into how you can find a job, into how you can find a church, into how, I didn't want to talk about church, but that's one other place.
That's the resources.
Yes, that's one other place that you will find good people.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And then, that's the beginning. You begin to grow. You begin to find new friends. You begin to find new challenges. You begin to find new jobs. There are places that are hiring and you may never know.
Exactly.
But if you talk about a job, somebody could be like, oh, at my place of work, actually, we're looking for someone like you. So that's how you connect yourself, open yourself up, and people will get to know you, they will get to know who you are, and you will begin to move in the right direction.
Yeah, you actually talked about something that we do here. Here, we are about to connect people into resources, to talk to people. I've hosted people from different kinds of environment, from hospitals, and we have talked about different things. And this is the most mission and or the aim of Flash Show. We are not all about sitting here looking beautiful, looking good, and talking and drinking tea with nice background stuff like that. It's not all about that. The purpose of Flash Show is to reach to you. In any way, socially, emotionally, spiritually, to reach you, to motivate you, to encourage you, to make you look at the world in a positive way.
Amen.
In not to feel like we have had. So why I came up with this kind of topic, I received like a lot of topics to discuss. Then I look for people so we can talk about this. So I'm a community person. So I have a friend who moved into the U.S. with a family, and then so he moved with a son who was 25, 25, and back home he was a doctor, or he was studying to be a doctor. So eventually the family moved. So when they got here, it didn't work for this boy. It didn't work at all. So he tried to get, he loved medicine, stuff like that kind of line. But when he tried to get in here, it didn't work for him. So the kid was so depressed. He was so stressed. So he got to the point of where he wanted to commit suicide. So like the transitioning was not really good at all. So they decided to get back home. The mother went back home with the son. And so when they went back home, was it in where was one of the West African countries? And so when they went back home, the son adjusted like to that kind of environment. And so they thought like, oh, things are okay now, so we can head back to the US and join the family. So when they got here, still things didn't work at all. So that's why I want us to learn to talk more about transitioning, how to adjust, how to be supportive to that kind of those kinds of kids, because we also have them in our community. So you come from Uganda when you are a doctor, but when you get here, you really feel you still want to be a doctor, but then you don't know how to go about it. One of the things that we have always mentioned here on Flash Show, and what Mr. Ezra Tindiewa mentioned, is about getting connected, knowing your environment, keeping close to people, looking out for resources. Go to churches, go to whatever community you want to go to, get connected to people. So, and then through that, you get help on how to transition. You might not transition like really right away, because I mean, even the culture itself is different. So, but you get the better ways on how to transition. So you from Uganda, you're working as you are in Department of Health, and you're getting good money. But when you get here, you find like you'll be working in a restaurant. What does that speak to you? So, I mean, like, if there was a person out there who is in such position, what kind of advice would you give to that person?
Well, in every starting point, in the beginning of everything is always challenging. You have been a professional back home, just like I was, and now you come into this country and you can't right away go into what you've been doing because of licensing challenges and probably getting your education graded properly. But in everything, whatever you do, just have that resilience in you. Know that you are a person of value, and you know what you're doing, and you know that at the right time you'll be able to get back into what you love to do most. So it's about patience. Take your time, get the right resources like we've said in the beginning. get connected to people who know exactly what you need and where you are and what you really should be doing. And then from there, start moving into the direction that you really want to be. But don't give up.
Yes.
Don't you ever give up on your dream. Don't you ever give up on what you love to do most. Don't you ever give up on your people. Do not ever give up on your passion. Do not ever give up on things that matter most to you. You keep doing it, even when things are not working, even when challenges are so insurmountable that you feel like, no, I can't do this anymore. That's the time. That's the time to put on your right boots and head out and face your challenges squarely in the face and be like, I will do this no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned something really very good. Being focused and knowing what you want. Like when you move from wherever country you have moved, and meanwhile we are not only speaking to the people here, because these are not the circumstances that are only happening to the people in the US. We are having people everywhere, all over the world, and the transitioning is the same.
It's the same.
It's the same because it's all about you, what you want and what you feel. So what he's trying to say is just stay focused. If you love something, if you came from Uganda and you came here, and you came from Uganda when you were a doctor, and you get into the US, and they take you through certain exams and stuff like that. But when you know what you want, please stay focused. Don't get diverted, and you find like you cannot do it and stuff like that. So now you are in the US. You were an engineer, and right now you are working as a nurse. So what does that, I know, so I know, like you mentioned, like you as well you love what you are doing.
I do.
And you have a reason why you transition, why you're doing it. So did you at any point say, oh, I made the wrong choice, or I think this was not right, or I think I'm off track? Or did you ever get people who are telling you, no, you were meant for this? Or when you finally decided to settle in, you said you were still working as an engineer doing the engineering work. So did you get so when you had an accident, tell us more about that. Like when you had an accident, you thought like, oh, I should transition because of...
No, actually, when I had the accident, I hadn't thought of ever transitioning to anything else, because it's engineering I knew how to do. I hadn't trained to do anything else. I had trained to work on machines and to make sure that I talk to machines and machines talk to me, and I produce products, and so that's what I knew how to do. But like I said, we need to be resilient. We need, even when life takes you up or down, you need to be resilient, to know that I always have to come back to that equilibrium level, to know that I have to make it no matter what. So when I got that accident and I went to the hospital, like I said, the level of compassion and love and the level of attention that I got from the nurses and the doctors really attracted me, because I went to sleep for 12 hours. We got there around 5 p.m., I believe, and we went through the whole night of surgery, and I got up the next morning, and the same doctors and the same nurses were still there working on my hand.
Wow.
And I wondered what kind of people they were, because they were there, remember, from 3, they were supposed to go off at 11. But because now this was a complicated surgery, they could not go off because nobody else now knew the history. So they had to keep on until they were done, then they could hand over to the next group when everything is stabilized. So the kind of motivation that I saw, the kind of attention, the kind of love, the kind of, resilience that I found in them, it made me rethink. It made me say in my heart that there's something I should be doing for somebody else.
Right.
It's not about loving what I'm doing. It's not about knowing what I'm doing, because I was good at what I was doing. But what are you doing that is impacting the life of somebody else?
Yes, yes, yeah.
So I talked to them. I said, I will train and become a nurse. And I'll be able to do something small, something little for somebody out there who will be in pain or will be in need of somebody to help them. So that's my motivation. So right now, no matter what kind of challenge I get into as a nurse, because there are many, some of you are nurses, you know what we go through, but it won't change my thinking that I went into a wrong profession.
Right.
Because I went into it and I love it and I want to be there for somebody. That kind of compassion, that kind of heart, that kind of love for somebody keeps me going, no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter the pain, no matter the headache, no matter the noise. Because we work many times on not very pleasant people.
Yeah.
Someone who will say things and you're like, really?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
you keep going. You don't even hear, you don't even put it in your head that, oh, how could he or she say that? Some people will even want to put you down because of your color.
Your color, yes.
Some people will even think that you don't actually know much about what you're doing. Sometimes you go to somebody and they will ask you if you are an aide, and yet they can see your badge that you're a nurse.
Right.
Not because you don't know what you're doing or because you don't have the knowledge of what but because of your color. So all those things might impact on you and you feel like, no, I don't think I'm in the right place. I don't think, but have that motivation that compassion, that zeal to keep you moving, and you will be able to do it.
Yes. Thank you so much, those who are logged in. I see Agava Renix, you are live, and Moses, thank you so much. Please let us know where you are watching us from. Let us know what you think about the topic. Let us know how much we can help you, and any more information that you want to know. I see there are some other people who are logged in, but they don't feel comfortable commenting, but in most cases people really tune in and watch.
Right.
So thank you so much for that motivation, and I think we kind of relate. And this is what I have always told people: get something, do something that motivates you. Do something that you really love, especially when you come into this country. Do something that you love. So this is the mistake that most people do. So when I came into this country, seriously, and I don't get ashamed of saying this, I'm a people person. I might not get along with anybody, with everybody. I might not love everybody, but I'm a people person. So when I got to this country, back home I did development studies, and it was leading me to communities, to do more of volunteer work, to work in refugee camps. And then, so when I got into this country, my focus was going to work with people, but I didn't know where to start. But that was what was at the bottom of my heart. And so I had a sibling who had a developmental disability, and I saw the love people were giving her. Nobody could come home without bread. Our friends would come home, oh, Feli loves bread, so they would come with bread and sugar and bread. By then we used to call it brew band. Yeah, brew band. So I would see that love that they had for her. So I also got motivated. Oh, at this point, I think I should do something for people out there. So when I got into this country, I was looking for something that would bring me close to people,
Right.
that would bring me work with people. And then I started looking. It was not even so easy for me to transition because,
Right.
you know, the process is really too hard. But then to transition into school and what do I do? And so people are telling me do nursing. Like, what do they do nursing? Like back home we see nurses, what they do is just give medication and do the injection. So I'm like, no, this is not what I want.
Right.
And this is not what is at my heart.
Right.
So when you ask people, what do you want me to do nursing? Nursing pays. And to me, it's not about money.
Nope.
It's not about money. It's about my passion, what I love, what motivates me, what brings me close to people. So you might not be a people person. It could be something, another career. It could be entertainment. If you come from home and you are maybe a comedian and you do something and you really love it from the bottom of your heart, just stay focused. Align with things, get people who will take you into the, and it's
Right.
very easy, very, very easy, as long as you love it. So when I get here and I'm looking for what to do and people are telling me nursing, I'm like, no. So I'm like, okay, if it is nursing, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Not that I'm not a smart person. I'm a very smart person. I could do nursing, but I wanted something to bring me close. So I had of social work. I don't know how we were calling it back home, so I had of social work. I'm like, okay,
Right.
let me read about this. So I went into reading about and finding more about social work. I'm like, okay, this is actually what I want, because I would work with the most vulnerable population, work with the refugees, work with the homeless, work with the families and,
Right.
kids. And so this is exactly where I'm at, and this is exactly what you talked about. What motivates you?
Right.
What keeps you
Right.
going?
Right.
That way, when, for instance, the family that I was talking about this kid, that way, if you come here knowing what you want, what motivates you, what keeps you going, you can't be all over. Because in most cases, what we have seen people come in here not knowing what they want. And then they are all over. They
Right,
are into
right.
social work. They are into nursing. And these are really smart kids. So I mean, so you are a father and you have a family. What kind of advice do you give to the young people who are moving into this nation when maybe they come with different careers and then they get in here? How should even parents handle them? Because we have had such cases like, well, kids have left the university, they are graduates, and then when they get here, maybe some of them are confused, or by the peer pressure, they are into drugs, they are so depressed. Even the parents themselves don't know how to handle this. So if you can talk on behalf of like the parents, how should they, I know you don't have kids who are grown up to that.
Soon, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, but unless some piece of advice, some piece of information.
You know, usually the problem starts with money. And in everything that I do, in everything that I work with, I try as much as possible to stay away from money. Now, when you want to get into anything and you are being attracted by how much you will be paid, by how much you will be remunerated in that profession, you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you go into something because you love to do it, if you go into something because that's where you are called to be, if you go into something because you feel you can't do anything else but that, then you will get the satisfaction. The mistake we do, I want to become a nurse because I'm going to be paid well. What if you go there and you actually don't get the payment that you thought you would, get? You're going to be frustrated.
Right. And you find yourself all over.
You're going to now run into something. You're going to hear that, oh, truck drivers earn a lot of money.
Yeah.
I've had all those. oh, truck drivers, he will go to New York, and by the time he comes back, he has 2,000. That's a lot of money. What if now you go into truck driving and you actually don't realize that? Because there are so many other things associated with you. Yes, you may go and get a 2,000, but by the time you come back here, you're probably left with $300.
Right.
And you're going to wonder whether what they were telling you is true. But what infuriates you? What does your heart really feel for? That's exactly what you should be doing. As a parent, I would never want to pressure my kid into doing something because it's going to be prestigious. It's going to bring a good name to the family. Don't you see, if you become a doctor, we are going to be famous. We are going to be known. I'm a father of a doctor. I would never pressure my kid into becoming an engineer because, oh, if you become an engineer, you're going to be famous, you're going to be known, you're going to be doing stuff. And when their heart is not there. If I'm a parent, I would never pressure my child to go into a certain school because, that's where people of, our social status go. I would sit down and try to understand what my child really wants in life.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, it's them going to live their lives. It's not you going to live their lives. And so if they do what they want to do in life, if you let them do what they love to do, it's not going to be a problem for them.
Right.
Because they love to do it anyway. Even if you don't pay them, they will wake up and go and do it. Flav loves to help people. Even if you don't tell her that we will pay you, she will go out and try to help as many people as she possibly could.
Yes.
So she will be driven to do that because she loves to do it. She loves to see someone being helped. That should be the basis of whatever we are doing in life. If I'm doing what I love to do, I will do it anyways. I don't care how much money I'm going to get. At the end of the day, of course, yes, you'll be paid, but is it the payment? Is it the money value that is attracting you to do that? If it's the value of money that is attracting you, I have bad news for you. At the end of the day, it's not going to amount to anything, and you will end up being frustrated. And you will hate what you're doing. But if you love what you're doing, you will love it anyway. You will appreciate whatever you get from what you're doing.
Yes.
That's my advice.
Yes, that is very good information
Right.
to the parents. I mean, it's all about getting to know from what your kid loves most.
Right.
Right? Because, I mean, nobody else knows your child than you.
Yeah.
So if you get to know what your child knows, and then you begin guiding your child within those lines, let me tell you, there will not be any stressor in life when your child grows up. Wherever
That's
you
right.
go, if you're in East Africa, South Africa, and you decide to move, we have to know that the culture is different wherever
Right.
we are. The background. If you're in Uganda and you move to South Africa, it's completely different. The background is different. The culture is different. So the transition is also different. So if you get to know what your child wants to a certain age, and then you begin guiding your child in the lines that there will never be that kind of frustration. Like if your children move to maybe here in the US, where life is really so not easy as most people think.
Hectic.
Yeah, it's tough, especially when it comes to the teens, to the young people. So when your kids move to the US, but they already know what they want, and you're supporting them, we won't see such like the scenario that I've told you, like the child was all over,
Right.
and he's here, he's in this field, and he's all over. He didn't know what to do. But so the parents out there, parents who are watching us or who will be watching the recorded stuff, please be so mindful and take keen interest in what your children want, so that you are more supportive of exactly what they want.
Right.
And this, yes, you talked about something very important. like you find like the whole family, they have doctors and they
Right.
have engineers, and yeah, so if you are not an engineer, if you don't become an engineer, if you don't become a doctor, if you don't become a lawyer, then maybe you're not
Then you
part.
don't belong.
You do, exactly.
Yep.
You don't belong. You're not part of that
Right,
family. If you
right.
come out and you be a social worker, then you don't.
You don't
please,
belong.
yeah, exactly. Please,
Right.
parents, let us learn to be, myself inclusive, definitely. Let us learn to be supportive of what our children want. I heard of a certain kid because the parents were like engineers, or those top professions, and then they were forcing this kid to get into that. It's like, this is not what I want. This is not like,
Right.
no, but this is what you have to be
Right.
because of our family. So you know what the kid
Right.
did? He goes to school. He was a smart kid. He goes to school and does all of that and gets even a master's and says, okay, mom and dad, here's your master's. I've done this, but this is not what I want. So guess what? The kid goes back into his exact profession that he wants. And is now, right now, I had this story way back, and now the kid is doing good. So just think about that. You are forcing the kid to do this and goes to school and says, okay, here's your master's, so I'm not going into this profession,
Right.
and sits back home
Right,
with
right.
the books and degrees and the PhDs there
Right.
back home. What will it help you, my friend? Definitely nothing, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, people, for watching us, and this is a good kind of information. Transitioning is really not easy because we have different culture, different backgrounds, different behaviors. And there's a saying that when you go to Rome, you behave like
Romans.
yes, because that's what it is. So what is important here, what we are trying to tell you is just to learn to be flexible, know what you want, know what motivates you, know what inspires you. And parents out there, let us learn to be supportive of our parents. We have so many resources in our community. We have friends, we have churches, we have different community centers where we can go to. Last Saturday, I hosted a person who gave out even all kinds of numbers. You can go back and look for awareness recording, and there was good information where you can reach out. And you can always reach out to Flash Show. I have so many. Since I started this thing, I'm connected to so many people in the communities.
Right.
So some want to be hosted, but the time is so challenging.
Right.
But I can connect you to anything, be it a job, be it some of us are struggling with papers, be it
Right.
that I have connections, I can do that. Churches, if you don't have anywhere to belong, I can connect you to where to belong. We have wonderful resources in the community. So this is exactly what Flash Show is all about. So as we end this show, I would like you to give some kind of advice of people who are trying to come into this nation, because I received so many messages and so many calls. Oh, Flavia, how do we transition? How can we make it into this nation, coming here? What should we expect? How do we go about it? Or once we are here, how do they begin? And not only here, even when they go outside other nations, what would really be the first things to be mindful of?
That's a tough one.
Yes.
But this is what I would say. If you really love something, if you really want to do something, then you can put in a little time into it.
Yes.
Do research
Yes.
about the country you want to go to. Get to know the culture, get to know what they want, get to know what they offer, get to know the services, get to know their requirements. And then from there, you can say that, yes, I want to go there, or no, maybe I try another country. But do your research.
Yes.
Don't just blindly pay your ticket or get your visa and go. Boom, you land into a place and you are like, or no. But if you do your research, if you have the information, I know many people may not be religious, but I'm a religious person and I'm proud to be religious. So I will always be like putting those small, tiny things. You need to be informed. If you don't have the information, then you might not make it. And then the other thing I would want to say is, be ye transformed. Let your mind be transformed
to new things.
To new things.
Yes.
That way you will be able to be resilient. You will be able to transform yourself and be a new person in whatever setting,
Yes.
in whatever situation you are in. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to me.
So, yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Ezra. It was nice hosting you. I really appreciate it. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we are not here just for a show. We are here to educate you and motivate you and support you in any way that you want. We could not be able to reach you physically, but through FLA Show, we are very supportive. So he mentioned about very important things. Just know your environment. Know what you want.
Right.
Stay focused. Young people, stay focused. And in all aspects of life, let it be marriage. If you're dating, if you're in school, if you're still home, stay focused and know what you want. And please get connected. Especially now, the days are bad. You know, what is going on. It's not only here in the US, it's worldwide. So please stay connected to people around you. If you need support, please reach out because this is not something that we anticipate to end maybe tomorrow or next month. We don't know. The pandemic is all over. So stay connected, know your environments, and seek out for help. Thank you so much, Mr. Ezra. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
My regards to the family.
I will.
And thank you, people who stayed with us. Those who didn't comment, I know there were so many people who are watching, but thank you so much for being supportive of FLA Show. And please, this is a young show. Let me know where to improve. Send in your suggestions. Continue sending in your topics, and we discuss them with you. If you would really feel you want to be hosted, please let me know. Like the page. Follow the page, share the page, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's FLA Show. Please, please, please subscribe. And so please stay tuned. Thank you so much.